Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're excited to welcome you. My name is Terry Lynn Macmillan. I'm an Outreach and Education Advisor with the Student Recruitment Team at Mohawk College, and I'm joined by the wonderful faculty of our Mechanical and Electrical Engineering Technology programs. Before we get started, this is just a reminder as participants to please keep your videos off. Your microphones have also been turned off. We kindly ask you to use the chat feature to ask any questions, and we will get to answering them at the end of the presentation. We are recording today's session for future use and for it to be viewed on our Mechanical and Electrical Engineering Technology program pages. We know everyone wants to know how September will look for program delivery. After carefully considering a number of options, the college has made the decision to deliver the fall 2020 semester of the Mechanical and Electrical Engineering Technology programs virtually. If entering a program that will be virtual for this fall semester, please know that the plan is flexible and can be easily scaled up or down to accommodate any changes along the way. You can be confident that our new learning styles will meet the learning outcomes for your program while ensuring the quality educational experience you can expect from Mohawk. I'd encourage everyone to check updates about COVID-19 on the Mohawk College website. A link for FAQs will be available in the chat for your review. If any international students are joining us today, please be sure to connect with our International Student Department. The website for international student recruitment and information will also be available in the chat. Just a reminder that there is still place in our engineering technology programs for anyone looking to start this September. To be considered, you will need your grade 12 English and grade 12 math at a college or university level to meet admission requirements. Further details on admission requirements can be found on each of the program pages. Now I'll hand it over to our Associate Dean, Elizabeth Martin, to provide you with some more information about our programs.
Well, hello. I'd just like to welcome you all to the session and thank you for your interest in Mohawk College. So today we're going to focus on two of the program clusters that we have here at Mohawk in Mechanical and Electrical Engineering. And so I'm joined by a number of the faculty and students, and another Associate Dean, George Miltenberg, is also here on the call. And what we want to do is provide you with the best understanding of what you can expect for this fall, and also what you can expect if you decide to come to Mohawk College and join us in one of our programs. So maybe we can move to the next slide. Great. So I want to start off and just have you think a little bit about what you're trying to get out of your time in Mohawk. A lot of times you might be looking for some self-discovery, trying to figure out where you want to invest so that you have a future. And what we want you to think about is what you need to accumulate along the way to make that possible. One of the things we want you to think about coming into any program is, how am I going to build out my resume so that by the time I get to the end of a program, I am someone that an employer wants to hire? And so as part of that journey, there's a lot of things we're doing at Mohawk to help make that possible. First of all, we've got the largest co-op system in Ontario here on our campus. And so what that means is we're going to look for in-the-field placements for you so that you have the hands-on learning opportunities before you finish the program. Also, in our classrooms, a large number of the classes have a hands-on component. And while we will be 100% virtual online for semester one this fall, you can be sure that when you come to campus in subsequent semesters, you're going to have the opportunity to work with that state-of-the-art equipment in each of the fields. We also have a lot of different applied research projects on the go, and you'll hear a little bit today about some of the opportunities for research that we have here on the Funnel campus and also at Stony Creek. We also have a number of embedded certifications, and what that means is you're either working toward or getting a certification while you're here in school at Mohawk. And it will be a little bit different depending on the individual program that you look at, but what we're trying to do is make sure the curriculum you get is very closely aligned to what the industry is looking for. Finally, we've got industry capstone classes. What that means is that they're more senior projects where you'll work with a faculty member on a project of your own. And then outside of the classroom, there's all kinds of other opportunities in the form of clubs and networking. So the idea here is build your resume while you're in school so that by the time you get to the end, you have a really solid offering for employers. Can we advance to the next slide, please? So I wanted to give you a little bit of an insight about the kind of programs we have in terms of the length of time to complete and the focus of those programs. We really have two different main pathways that you can take. You can either follow the technician pathway or a technologist pathway, and in some cases, they may have some overlap. A technician pathway is going to focus on basic troubleshooting. It's going to have 4 semesters of class time plus a co-op opportunity. Now, in contrast, if you look at a technologist pathway, that's going to be a little bit longer with 6 semesters in class and a co-op opportunity. So what you see here is that when you get to the technologist diploma, it's a little bit more advanced. You're going to go deeper on the critical thinking, and you're going to start thinking about how you can apply this to new problem solving. So regardless of which path you take, we've got a program for you, and we're going to share a little bit more about those programs. One thing we do hear a lot from students, though, is that they want to know what they can do with these programs when they're finished. So let's begin with the end in mind and just know that either one of these diplomas will give you the credentials you need to go out and work here in Canada when you've completed. If you want to pursue further education, you also have a number of different options. We have a program with the Bachelor of Technology program at McMaster University, where you can continue your studies there. And another option that you have is to pursue a Bachelor of Engineering transfer pathway. And we have a number of different schools that regularly accept students out of our program to move on to pursue their Bachelor in Engineering. So with that, I'm going to turn over the next slide to John Van Loon, who's one of our faculty in the electrotechnology cluster, and he's going to share with you some of the differences in the different program options that we have.
Thanks, Liz. What we're looking at here is sort of a overview of our different programs. You'll see that they all sort of overlap. They have common components with each other, but then they have a focus. So in the areas that are overlapping, those are the basic sort of concepts. If we start on the top left for electrical generation and transmission, its focus is towards utilities, renewable energies, transmission lines, distribution of power. But with the electrical controls, which is in the bottom left, you'll see that it also shares the base power system education. So they both need it. The energy will get more power systems, the electrical controls will get a little bit less power systems. Electrical controls, its focus is more on process control and SCADA, power electronics. They do a bunch of automation. So those are the kind of areas there. Now, in order to do that, they need a whole bunch of other base components, things like basic PLC programming, some robotics. They do advanced PLC programming. There's some networking, instrumentation. They do AutoCAD for electrical, and all these go together into their sort of system, which if we look at the mechanical design, sorry, the mechanical engineering program, which is just, I guess, right next to it on the right. I don't have a pointer, so I can't really point. You can see where they also do basic PLC. They do robotics. They have mechanical components and machine elements. So all this goes together. Then they further those base sort of knowledge sets with their 3D mechanical CAD, the advanced design principles, manufacturing technology, to produce a mechanical designer that's able to deal with creating physical structures and equipment. Because in today's world, you can't just do one. You have to have some overlap and be able to understand where other parts of the system come in. If we look right at the top in the middle there, it's computer mechatronics. They have a bunch of stuff from mechanical, the electrical, a little bit from the utilities, and they augment that with a lot of programming and a lot of software technologies. So its main focus is being able to make automation run and from both a mechanical and electrical standpoint, as well as software. They don't get as much mechanical as mechanical design gets. They don't get as much electrical as electrical gets. They don't get as much software as a software engineer would get. But they put it together, they're able to use it all and be very effective on the plant floor. And finally, the quality and non-destructive testing. It's a specialized program. It's very exciting, actually. They work in conjunction with CINDE, is it? And that's a national certification program. They take 1 year, I believe, that is in common sort of with the mechanical design group. And then they spend the rest of their time with hands-on tools dealing with different techniques, including eddy currents and magnetism, to detect failure in a part or in a structure without actually doing any damage to it. So it's a fairly exciting program. I think that's a general sort of view through this really quick. If we'd like to, we can go on to the next slide.
Sure.
And I can throw it back.
So I'm going to throw it to Vijay now. Vijay is going to take us through the overview of the electrotechnology cluster and some of the different options you have if you decide to focus on electrotechnology.
Thank you, Liz. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vijay Khatri, and I'm the coordinator of the Electrical Energy Systems programs. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of, let's say you accept the program at Mohawk College. What does your pathway look like in terms of your academics? What courses are you going to take? So whether you start in the computer engineering program or the energy systems program or the electrical engineering program, the first year is going to be common. So you'll be sharing the same classrooms, the same labs with everybody who is taking these programs. So some of the courseworks that you'll do, for example, if you're starting in fall 2020, these are the courses that everybody will take. So the applied programming, the electricity one, the computer systems and networks, the engineering skills, and the engineering math and communication. So those are the courses that are common for semester one for everybody. And even semester two, as you move forward, there is a common courses that everybody takes. And once you complete your year one, then you would branch out into any of the specialized streams that you have chosen. The advantage from your standpoint would be is, let's say if you decide that you started with the computer engineering program and said, I'm more interested in the energy systems program, then that basically gives you an opportunity to make a decision at that time and say, can I move into energy systems? And that happens, and then you'll be offered up the opportunity to go into the energy systems program. So that is the common the advantages of having the first year as common. So these are some of the programs that we offer within our umbrella. And so as I said, the critical part is that the first year is going to be common to everybody. And as you progress, we'll see how your academic path moves forward. So can we go on to the next slide, please?
And I think Melinda's going to share a little bit about some of the different labs. Thanks, Vijay.
No problem. Thank you.
And Melinda, do you want to share a little bit about some of the different research opportunities that we have on campus?
Yes, hi, it's Melinda. I am faculty here at Mohawk College Electrical and Energy Systems program. And I've been involved with some of the research projects, applied research projects that we have here. Very exciting. And also we have one of our students here as a panelist today. He will talk a little bit more about that. In specifics, I'll just talk in general about what we have to offer in terms of other than what we do in the labs, actually. So we have, so if you can point the pointer to the EPIC lab, we have very new state-of-art equipment that can be used to, to simulate different technologies. And also, like, students have been involved, a lot of students have been involved into these applied research projects. Some of them, like the EcoShell Marathon, for example, we had students that built an eco car, and they competed in in if I'm not wrong, not national, but international competition. So also we have a smart house at Stony Creek campus, and that's something that students can use again for any research projects. And we have a solar system, for example, emulator, like the Chroma, the one that you see there on the slide. And also we have a substation where the Caroline substation. This is a decommissioned substation that was donated to Mohawk College, and students and faculty are involved and are working there to create something very interesting, and where students are involved and also faculty is involved as well. And these projects, actually, you can start, for example, from after semester 3 or semester 4 to participate. And again, it's there are some areas that you might be interested to take part into these projects. So this is something that, again, it's extra of what we do in the labs. Of course, we have our labs that unfortunately we cannot show to you today, but these are other facilities that, again, can support students in extra activities. Also, we have a applied research course that is in semester 5 and semester 6, where, again, students that are interested, they can take part into these applied research courses, and they can follow, let's say, their dreams. And we partner with industry partners and solve real life problems.
Thanks, Melinda. So next, I'm going to throw it over to Professor Louis Durazio, who is a coordinator in the mechanical technology area for the college.
Anyways, the mechanical engineering technology is quite the interesting program. It's been around for a while. So just to talk about that initially, the student actually comes out with a number of skills, and we introduce them to some real foundational sciences to start off, where we deal with physical science, electricity, mathematics, obviously, metrology, using various tools for measurement, etc., computer-aided design, and manufacturing from a general point of view. This will lead a student to advanced design techniques. You get into automation with controllers and motors. We have robotics, 3D printing, which we've really moved on that part of it. We've introduced foundry science, and we're getting stronger and stronger to the point that Mohawk College is the only recognized school in Canada for foundry. And within a lot of our courses, our programs, we have embedded industry certification. So we have a big advantage in our mechanical level program. Interesting as well is the Quality Engineering Technician Non-Destructive Program, which the governing body, as mentioned earlier, is CINDY, and that's in our building as it is, Canadian Institute of Non-Destructive Evaluation. They are also introduced to physical science, electricity, mathematics, metrology, and a number of other foundational skills. The beauty of this program, very unique, and they become licensed per se through NRCan, National Resource of Canada, and they get hands-on non-destructive measurement techniques. And what that means is you get into some of the specialized program like ultrasonics and radiography, and even to simpler techniques like dye penetrant tests. So there's jobs for this field all over the place as well. The interesting thing between the two of them is what I'm finding out now more and more in the manufacturing world is not only do they want our mechanical students coming out there and getting involved, especially all of a sudden maintenance type areas, they're also asking for students that have any NDE background, because they can actually assist in some of the maintenance sides for machine liability, et cetera, et cetera. Is there another, next slide, please?
Yeah.
So they end up, we learn about principles of design and physics. These are some of the things we cover in the mechanical side. But we get into quite a bit details on that, especially get into some of the robots, the robotic program, the FANUC system. There's even a certification option, and we're always looking at trying to obtain more and more certification for the students. So they're at a point that when they graduate, they actually have a lot more than the diploma that sits there. Our AutoCAD and SolidWorks training we have also has certification options. And the additive manufacturing lab, the 3D printing, there's so much I can tell you about that, but it's something you have to experience, and you'll see how far in advance Mohawk College has come in that area.
Thanks, Louis. So if we want to move on to the next slide. So I can kind of round out the end of the slides here. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the opportunities that all of these different streams share. So I wanted to talk first a little bit about the state-of-the-art labs that Louis mentioned. We saw some pictures of EPIC and the AMIC, the Advanced Manufacturing Lab, but it's worth knowing that if you become a student here at Mohawk College, there are both paid and unpaid opportunities for you to actually do research in some of these labs. So you can get hands-on experience with this industrial equipment, both in and outside of the labs. And as part of the EPIC lab, we have a living lab that's collecting real data on our LEED certified building. So really, you are learning from a state-of-the-art building about how buildings should behave. On the AMIC side, we were part of the advanced manufacturing cluster here in Hamilton for COVID and helped make a whole bunch of 3D printed parts to help the industry over the last couple of months here. And so we take great pride in our partnerships with the community and also in really furthering the use of these research facilities to do good things for students and to ensure that you have an opportunity to do research outside of your classroom. If we look to the right, you'll see that there's a list of the student academic clubs. And again, because a lot of the mechanical and electrical cluster courses have a lot of overlap, you'll find that there's a lot of collaboration in these clubs. The IEEE branch tends to be a little bit more electrical in nature, and John is the faculty that oversees or supervises that club. And then the Foundry Club, Louis is the Foundry Club rep, and that one tends to be a little bit more mechanical. So we've got kind of the two more specialized clubs, but then there's a whole bunch that tend to have a wider, more diverse group of participants. So we've got the robotics competition, or SumoBot, which works a little bit like it's a robotics battle. And different teams, they can be all from one program or they can be multidisciplinary team programs, compete with one another to develop a superior SumoBot. We also, as someone mentioned a little earlier, have the Shell Eco Marathon car. And this is an intact team of about 8 to 10 students who build a car, a functioning car that displays a lot of new technology. And they're constantly refreshing this car and competing in both national and international competitions with it. We've got an active Women in Tech and Trades group, and there are bursaries and scholarships for women who are exploring options to go into technology and the trades. We also have an on-campus community, and right now virtual community, where you can get involved in working on projects or just meeting up with other women who are in similar programs to you. We also have the Astronomy Club, and Sabatino is on the line. We didn't hear from him quite yet, but he is a faculty member who is the faculty rep for the Astronomy Club. So, and this is just a sampling of some of the academic clubs that we have here on campus that are ways that you can get involved outside of the classroom. Also, we've got some unique learning environments, and we heard a little bit about the Caroline substation, but it's worth mentioning that we have a state-of-the-art AR/VR lab here on campus as well, and there are opportunities for students to get involved in research projects that make use of that lab. And additionally, we've got amazing co-op opportunities where you go outside of the classroom and kind of take all of this amazing learning and start to apply it in a job situation. So with that, we have arrived at a blank slide. With that, I think we're at a point where we can kind of open up to the panel discussion. And I did want to introduce a few other people who we haven't heard from yet today. So maybe if we could just hear from Sab briefly, and then Sabu, if you want to just take turns to introduce yourself to the folks on the line.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good, all right. I'm Sabatino, and I teach at Mohawk College. I've been there like just over 9 years now. And the main topics that I teach are metrology, process planning, physics, and metallurgy, among others. But these are the core subjects that I teach. I also want to take a shout out to Kathy. Kathy is one of my students. How long has it been now, Kathy? 5 years? You online? 4 or 5 years now? And Kathy started the astronomy club, and she approached me one day and during my physics class, wanted to know if I would assist her in starting this astronomy club. And while the rest is history at the college, as you can see behind me here, is the astronomy club and the many things that we do. And during all the other classes that I teach, and I know Kathy would agree with me that even in metallurgy, process planning, and especially physics, I do a great deal of demonstrations. Liz, if you go back to a couple of those slides, you will see me doing a demonstration in physics where I break a board. Yeah, it's here somewhere. And with every physics class that every week, I teach physics twice a week. Each one, before I introduce that particular topic, I will do a demonstration. And you can see me here in the top left where I have a hard hat on and I'm about to break a board to which I cut here during the summertime. And then I lay a piece of paper on top of it, newspaper, and I literally break it. That particular day when this is actually on film, I was being filmed, I asked one of my students to take a video of me. On that specific day, I also asked the president of the college, Ron McCurley, to come and sit with me. And I asked one of the students to videotape me. And some of the students, you see, they moved out of the way so I can get a clear view of the videotape. And over to my right, when you look at me in the picture, in the top right is that the president of the college. And it was good of him to stop by, and he actually enjoyed the demonstrations. It just goes to show that he is, in fact, a hands-on individual who does get involved with what goes on in the faculty. And he sent me a letter thanking me for the demonstrations and the various things that I said. And now,
Thanks,
and
Seb.
I'm going to do a demonstration here, don't you, Liz? Liz ought to know this. I have here, if you take physics with me, I'll show you something hard to see. I have here a nail. It's a finishing nail. You barely see it. And it's got a small little head on it and a pointy tip. I'm going to put this finishing nail inside a cork just so I can hold it. I have a second nail. I'm going to take this other one here. I have a second nail and I put it inside this cork. Here's the sharp end and here's the head of the nail. You can barely see it. What happens if I try to balance these two? Obviously, they're not going to balance it. They're just going to fall off. But there's always a trick, things that you learn in physics. I have here a fork. I'm going to put a fork over on one end of this and just to, there we go.
I haven't seen this demo before, folks.
With this
so
setup
is
now, I can easily balance a nail on top of a nail, as you can see. And this is due to the center of gravity, and you learn all this stuff here in my physics class and others. And it's rather stable, very stable. In fact, I made a video of this for my students right here, now that we're all virtual. And I can lean this in several different ways. You can see how stable it really is, all because of center of gravity. And this and many other demonstrations that I do in my physics class.
Hey,
You
thanks,
know,
Deb.
Liz, you know I had to do a demo. And
I know you had to do one, and
I
I'm
just
I'm
had to.
I'm glad you did, because it brings up a really important point, which is that just because we're going online doesn't mean that you're not going to get to interface with us and you're not going to get the best of what we have to offer. You know, the reality is there's lots of different ways that we can teach you about these concepts, and especially with foundational concepts, there's lots of options we have for doing that online. So, you know, for example, in the electrotechnology cluster, there are a number of kits that you'll get where you'll be working through a lot of lab work at home with the instruction of the faculty. So there's lots of different avenues that we can take to teach you online, and you're going to get the very best of our instructors. So thanks for sharing that with us, Sab. Sabu, do you want to introduce yourself next?
Muted. Hi, sorry for joining late. I was stuck in the traffic. I had to give a ride for my daughter. Myself, I'm with the college for last 22 years. I used to teach only the upper semesters when I joined. Now I teach mainly lower semester courses. Maybe I'm getting too old. Semester 1, 2, and 3, and those who are joining electrical and computer engineering, you may see me in semester 1 for electricity 1. I don't have any demo to do now. I can give you maybe I can give you a shock. No, I will pass that.
You're saving all your tricks for the classroom, right, Sabu?
Yes.
Well, thank you for joining us. We have a few other folks on the line, so I wanted to just open this up and say hello to Maria and Braska from International, and if you could just kind of let us know what your roles are and share that with the folks on the line.
Sorry, I had to unmute. I'm Maria Bracalenti. I'm the International Student Services Advisor. So once you're a student at Mohawk College, you've been accepted, then if you have any questions or concerns, you can reach out to me directly. If you have any inquiries now, then probably the best person to talk to is Braska.
Hi, everybody. My name is Braska. I'm one of 8 market specialists at Mohawk College, focusing on helping international students throughout their transition from application to coming to Mohawk. And I thought that was my dog for a second. Okay, so yeah, I am here alongside my other market specialist teams, and we are happy to help you and answer any of your questions, whether it be now or beyond this virtual event.
Thanks, Braska. And then who did I miss? I'm sure I missed at least, well, of course I missed our students. So maybe Kathy and John, if you want to introduce yourselves and just let the others on the line kind of know what program you've been in and where you're at in your studies, and maybe if you want to share what you like most about the program too that you're enrolled in, that would be amazing. Maybe John, do you want to start, and then we'll go to Kathy?
Hi, Liz, can you hear me? It's John.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So hi, everyone. My name is John. I'm a graduate of the Energy Engineering Technology program. I just finished in April. So it was 4 years, approximately 4 years with all the co-op and all the classes. And now I'm working in the EPIC Center, that's the Energy and Power Innovation Center. So for that, it's kind of an extension of what my project was during my 12-month co-op, which was to build a protection scheme in our substation that I think was mentioned a little while ago. So that's basically it. For now, it's just a 4-month summer contract, and I'm looking for work after that, unless Mohawk chooses to hire me to do something else. So that's basically a summary of a quick summary of my time at Mohawk.
Thanks, John. And Kathy, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Liz. I'm Kathy. I'm in the Mechanical Technology program here at Mohawk. Currently, I'm on a year-long co-op internship with Cargotech, a technology automation solution company in Burlington. I get involved a lot around Mohawk and just outside. So if you're interested in opportunities or looking for opportunities, definitely give me a contact or just contact me and I can definitely find something for you, or I can find the right person for you. And that's pretty much all for me.
Awesome. Thanks, Kathy. So I wanted to make sure we had some students here in case there's questions that are directed towards students. I also will point out, Tracy, you're on the line. So if you want to just share with students a little bit about what your role is at the college and how we're trying to make the technology a little more accessible to students when they're studying online, that would be amazing.
Hi, hello everybody. I'm Tracy Dallaire. I'm the Technology Integration Leader at Mohawk for Academic Areas. So I work with many areas across the college to try to bring the best technology that we can to students and the student learning experience. That's the software, the hardware, the computers. So we're getting geared up and ready for the fall. We've been supporting the students right now that are in the spring-summer semester. So when you come to Mohawk and you're learning both virtually, and I know that there's a bit of a hybrid plan for the fall, there's really going to be a great robust set of resources for you to learn remotely and learn virtually. We also at the college have laptops that are available for loan out, and we have many supports. There'll be guides, workshops, there's daily drop-ins to get support and help. So many resources will be there for you. In the coming weeks, there's going to be some orientation sessions eventually put online that will give you a bit more information about who to talk to get help with your, say, technology or figuring out what kind of computers you need. So looking forward to working with you, and I work very closely with everybody who's here today, Liz and the team, and as new ideas come up for technology that they need in the classroom, we work to try and resolve that and get what students need to give them a really great experience here at Mohawk College.
Thanks, Tracy. So I want to open up the floor. I see that we have a couple of students joining us online, and so I'm wondering if you have any questions for any of the panelists that we have here. We can talk all day. We're really good at that, but we want to make sure that we hear from you. And if there are any things that you're concerned about or that you need more information about going into your decision to come and study with us or stay home and study with us this semester, that we can help kind of answer those questions for you. And you can either do it in chat, or I think there's a few enough of us here that if you want to unmute and actually share your question with us, that would also be okay. Any questions? Oh, it's an easy crowd, huh? Well, I'm going to ask questions then. I'll ask a couple of questions. Well, it looks like a couple people got knocked off the call. So I guess my question would be, if I'm kind of directing this back to the faculty, you could just talk for a moment. I know Sab has shared a little bit about what he teaches in his class, but could the rest of the faculty just say what kind of classes you teach and what kind of technology is in those classes, maybe, just so people can get a sense of what they'll be exposed to in the classroom?
Sure, I'll jump in and go first.
Okay.
So it's John Van Loon again. In the type of courses that I teach are primarily automation courses. I teach PLC programming, both low level and high level. I teach a robotics course, which is very similar to the mechanical robotics course. We do the certification. I'm developing and teaching an advanced robotics course, which does a vision component. So we have certification in the vision too. Our computer engineering program is where I'm mostly focused at the time being. And that one has the opportunity for the Siemens SMSCP International Certification test to be written. So those are the kind of areas that I'm focusing in on, controls, that kind of stuff. I'm also involved in the Eco Marathon car. So in the very first slide that you saw, in the back of that slide was the Eco Marathon car on the table. And that was the very first iteration of the car. I can tell you that the students in the group right now have been working through this disruption, and they've continued on and made progress. They're hoping that by next April, things will look a little better, I don't know, and they'll be able to go and compete. So they have rebuilt the car from scratch almost. I think there's a few pieces that they kept from the old car. So they're off and running. The IEEE group IEEE is an international organization. We have a student branch at Mohawk. We're, I think, one of about 8 or 9 colleges in the country that have student branches, and they've been fairly active. They go to different conferences. They go to leadership opportunities. It's a great way to get involved and network with like-minded peers.
Okay. Thanks, John. So actually building on that, you talked a little bit about some of the ways that what we do in the class connects to what we do outside of the class. Louis, do you want to talk just for just a second about some of the way that we use the capstone courses and we use?
Yeah, sure. So one of the good things coming to Mohawk College and in the mechanical area, I have quite a few contacts in the manufacturing world. That's where I originally came from before coming to Mohawk for the last 20 years. But we do these senior level capstone projects as well as trying to understand lean manufacturing. And the point behind it is we try to optimize these plants, these manufacturing plants. And so we end up doing a lot of experiential learning. So you actually get hands-on out in the factories. You get it. We get students invited to go into factories, and it's usually in teams of 4. And we look at and study the layout of the factory, and we come up and optimize how to run that factory from a floor perspective. And it's been very successful because Mohawk College actually won the Premier's Award back in 2013 for this project, beating out 3,500 other students. So it's very unique for Mohawk and where it's gone with this. And the other thing that we're introducing this year is in the lean manufacturing program, that's in semester number 5, we're introducing preventive and predictive maintenance techniques. And I've checked around, and we're the only college that does that. And that'll give you direct links into a lot of the manufacturing companies. So it's some pretty interesting prospects that we have with a lot of our projects.
Thanks, Louis. So maybe if I could throw it back to you, Vijay, in terms of the types of classes that you're teaching, do you want to share a little bit about the classes?
Yes, I just as a background, perhaps I didn't mention this, but I have been with Mohawk College for the past 10 years. And prior to that, I was in the industry for about 17 years. So I do bring in a lot of my experiences in the classroom. And one of the unique things that you'll find within our program is that when most of the faculty we teach, we just don't teach from the books. We actually bring our own experiences into the classroom. And I think this is what I think sets us apart even from other colleges too, is we have a lot of faculty who have industrial experience. And that is reflected, or that is shown in some of the labs we have designed over the years. And we have invested a lot of money in the equipment that we have inside the labs. Unfortunately, we can't show you any labs in this environment, but most of the labs, so if, for example, what Melinda was showing in some of the labs, we have some of the top line equipment from, say, be it from Siemens or be it from any relay manufacturers that we have, down to even some of the scopes that we use in our lower semesters. Those are also some of the top of the line equipment that we have. And I think we also try to ensure that year over year, we review all of that and make sure the equipment that we put in the labs is top of the line. So when you go out and work in the industry, you will see that a lot of it is something that you will be familiar with and you'll have no trouble in integrating in the work environment. So we try to look for all these things year over year and do some of the increments in the lab. Our labs are always constantly evolving, and I think I can tell you, when I joined Mohawk College and when I look at the labs 10 years, over the 10 years, we have evolved quite a bit. And some of the courses I teach, my specialty is in power electronics and power systems. And I think I have made some contributions in towards deciding what equipment gets into the lab, where some of the modules that we use, and when we have our industry partners look at it, they really support us and they say, this is what we would like institutions to teach, so that when students get out of graduate, they can integrate right into the work environment. So I think this is a focus that we have. It's not just doing classroom presentations or teaching you on the board, but giving you some practical experiences while you are at the college.
Thanks, Vijay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we hear that all the time from students. You come for the school and you leave with the co-op, right? And the reality is that there's no greater, more positive way to show an employer that you're interested and you're passionate about what you know, and that you're going to make a great employee than to go out and have one of these experiential learning opportunities, take what you've learned at the beginning of your program and really put it to use. Again, we do that in the labs and outside of the labs. Now, I know that in some of the other sessions that we've run, there's been a lot of questions from international students about what to expect for the fall and some of the differences. So I want to go back to Maria and Brusca for just a few minutes and just talk about some of the guidance we've gotten from the government around the ability for international students to study remotely. So if one of you would like to kind of take that question and just maybe elaborate a little bit about what's allowed and what may not be allowed, so that people know how to plan for participating remotely next semester. Oh, I think Brusca, you're muted. I'm gonna just, there we go.
So for a fall semester, I guess the biggest change is virtual learning, and that we have a question that reoccurs all the time, and that is, can I take my courses in my home country? The answer for that is yes, as long as you have your study permit approval or student visa approval. That's no problem. You can start your studies abroad. Of course, you should get guidance from, I do recognize some of the names here that I know they are international students. So you should get a guidance from immigration consultant no matter what. But the general information right now is you can start your courses online. And to go in more detail, you could take up to 50% of your courses online. But of course, we're hoping it doesn't stretch that long. But I think that's the biggest kind of question that's different for international students, and we are making sure to distribute as much information as possible as it becomes available to us. So make sure you connect with international department and market specialists, myself, and we'll be happy to answer specific questions for your region.
Thanks, Brusca. Maria, did you have anything else to add, or do you want to talk a little bit about the student services side of things and how we support students when they're remotely and on campus?
Certainly. Thank you, Brusca. That information obviously is correct. There are things changing constantly, so it is important to check with either the admissions office or International Student Services, or go on our website for international students, just to make sure you're up to date on the most relevant COVID information. We do have a COVID website as well. Once you are accepted to Mohawk and you've paid the fees, and you will start to get information about registering. It'll all be done virtually, so you don't have to be in country to register. We're working on how that process is going to work for you. Don't stress, timetables won't open until late summer, usually in August, but you'll get plenty of notification when those timetables will open. I have some students that want to pick their timetables now, and it's just too early. We're still doing summer semester. So students starting in the fall, you have time to pick your timetables. So don't start stressing about that. If you have specific questions, if you are connected with Bresca or one of the other recruiters from International, you can reach out to them with any questions. You can also email international.services@mohawkcollege.ca, or you can reach out to me directly. All the information is on the website, and it's Maria Bracalenti, and I'm one of the international advisors. Once you've arrived at Mohawk, there's a lot of support for you. If you have questions about housing, residents, those kinds of things, then we're getting up-to-date information on that as well. So you can always email your questions directly. Okay.
Perfect. Thanks so much. So I guess maybe we can round out the conversation here. And I just want to ask George. George, are you there? Are you quiet in the background, or are you gone? I don't know if you wanted to say something just on behalf of your program, and you know, we haven't given you your moment in the sun yet.
That's quite all right. Thank you, Elizabeth, for hosting the meeting. I just want to say to any student who is interested in coming to Mohawk College, you can't go wrong picking from any of the programs that were shown to you in the past hour, or any of our other programs. We're a great college, and we have a really high success rate for our students after they graduate. The programs that you will take will prepare you well for a long career. And we talked about pathways for those of you who are interested in earning a degree after you graduate. We have wonderful pathways that can lead to that. So you can't go wrong no matter which program you take here at Mohawk. And we're certainly hope to see you in September. Thanks.
Great, thanks. I was just going to put out a call to any of the students who are on the call. Are you sure there's no questions? That's okay. I think, okay. Well, with that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it back to Terry Lynn and just say thank you very much for joining us today. I hope we were able to answer some of your questions and give you a little bit of an insight about what's different between the different mechanical and electrical programs, so that you can make the choice that's best for you this fall. And again, we hope to see you in our classrooms virtually in the fall and in person in the winter. Take care.
Great, thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you to our wonderful faculty for all of the great information you've shared. We hope this leaves all of our participants confident to join us in September. And we'd like to thank everyone who joined us today. If you need assistance with next steps, if you have any additional questions, or you'd like to speak to an advisor, you can connect with us by emailing discover@mohawkcollege.ca. Thank you again for joining us.